Hi there, this is Wafa Al-Bedat. You are listening to the Women Power Podcast, a subsidiary platform to the Women Power Summit, the largest event in MENA, with the aim of empowering women and helping them achieve their absolute highest potential. Each week on the Women Power Podcast, you will hear honest, vulnerable, authentic, real conversations from inspiring women. These women will share their experiences and stories into what it takes to build a successful business and career. The podcast will share insight and inspiration and hopefully inspire action and lead change.
Dana Malhas Ghandour was the former managing partner of a fashion store in Jeddah called Cream. Dana is known for her eclectic urban style, and the Saudi-Palestinian former fashion buyer has a distinct eye for one-of-a-kind pieces that she has handpicked from around the world. Dana now collaborates with brands and showcases her home and fashion styling online with her community. Welcome, Dana.
I know things are normalizing now with COVID, and I know you also moved, which is so brave during this period to just make that huge move, and everybody's kind of nesting and trying to sit still.
We were living in an apartment, and it was a very high-rise tower. We were on the 62nd floor. We had that balcony, but it was very, very small, and we had two kids full of energy. They wanted to go out. They needed some fresh air. At one point, we literally locked ourselves in the apartment for 3-4 weeks as we had cases in the building. It was just very inconvenient to be living there at that time with the two kids growing up, and this guy wants us to go on the scooter and she wants to run around and she's learning how to walk and he wants to be outside and the weather is amazing but we can't and we're locked in, so the result came as a move. So the move came as a result of COVID, and we had to do it. Honestly, we muscled through it. To be very honest, there were things I wasn't 100% sure of, because safety-wise, we took a tiny bit of a risk. Like when the workers were coming in and out, everyone was in masks and gloves and no shoes and all these things, but you never know where they live and all of that. I just had to turn a blind eye for a few days and then get back on track with all our strict rules and sanitization.
So Donna, how I first remember you or coming across your personality as an entrepreneur was through Creme Boutique in Saudi. And that's kind of like the Donna before your phase now, which is your I don't know how you feel about the term influencer. Some people like it, some people don't. I had a very... Sorry, do you like it or you don't like it?
I'd much rather be called an entrepreneur because that's how I started. And I feel I don't feel like Cream was my old life and this is my new life. I feel like Cream was my introduction to this life. It was the beginning of all of it. My intention was not to get into blogging or influencing. I started off as an entrepreneur with Cream, and my idea was to create this platform on Instagram where I could connect with my clients and where they could see behind the scenes. And when we go on buying trips and when we're selecting things, I'd ask, would you like this? Would you like that? I'd show them how to wear them. So it was mainly for my store and to connect with my clients who were the same age as me at the time. I was 22. And then it just grew organically. People started following me for my style, for the tips, and brands wanted to collaborate more with me because I represent a business and I'm not just someone that just showed up on social media. I had a business. I was working day and night on it. Actually, it was just me and the salespeople. That was it. So for me, Cream was the beginning all of this, and it just flowed. It wasn't a plan that went through,
So for those of us, or for the followers or the listeners who are listening to this podcast and they don't know what Cream is, can you tell us or give us a brief about what it was, why did you call it Cream, and what did you guys sell?
So Cream actually was a multi-brand boutique in Beirut where I was studying when I was at university, and I was in love with this place. It was actually owned by now my sister-in-law. So my husband's sister owned it in Beirut back then, and before I even met my husband, I was a client at Cream. I loved Cream. I was buying from there all the time. I loved the idea of it. It was just a small boutique that brought designers from all around the world together, pieces that you have never seen, or like you wouldn't know who designed them. Very upcoming and trendy and daring and different, very selective. And it was kind of mid-end, so it wasn't the street fashion that you see all around and that you can recognize, and it wasn't the big brands with the big budgets. It was a mid-end multi-brand boutique of designers that were hand-selected from all around the world and very different, and you would have one or two of each piece only. So basically I was a huge fan of the store. And then I had a talk with Dania Ghandour, who is now my sister-in-law, and she wanted to expand. And I said, let's take it to Saudi. This is where I come from. And I saw a gap in the market for that kind of stores. At the time, we only had Zara, Mango, whatever, and then Chanel, Dior, and that. So we didn't have anything in between. I wanted to introduce that to the market, and I was so passionate about it. Like, I really believed in it as a client. So I figured it'll be a great way to start a business when you first started off as a consumer and then you become the owner. So I really believed in it. I was a client myself. Everyone, my target age audience was my age, which was amazing. It was really easy to connect. We were targeting girls my age. So I knew exactly what they wanted, what they were looking for, what was in, what was not. It just made a lot of sense, and I went for it.
So did you personally invest to open the Saudi store, or did you go 50-50 with her on the full brand, so you own part of the Lebanese store as well?
So it was me, her, and her partner also, Dan Al-Khazan. It was 3 girls, and we invested equally in Saudi. In Beirut, I have nothing invested there because they started it. They were the founders in Beirut. I just took it to Saudi, kind of expanded it, changed the image a little bit. I had to tailor to suit the market in Saudi. They like a bit more luxury. The Saudi women know exactly what they want. They have very high standards and quality. So I had to meet those needs. But it was the same name, same concept. But for example, you would find more clothing in Jeddah than you would in Beirut. Beirut was more accessories and handbags. Jeddah was more ready to wear. We had more European designers than them because our budget was different and our price point was different, which allowed us to get more people from outside and as well a lot of regional and local designers. We had a lot of Saudi designers because it was the first platform that they had for them to sell their stuff. Everyone was just selling directly to the clients. So alhamdulillah, it did really well. We tried our best to keep the image, keep the name, keep the whole idea, but just expand it and make it more suitable to the Saudi market.
So you said that you were based in Saudi, or you were born in Saudi. Can you tell me a bit more about that? Because you were also studying in Lebanon, but then why were you in Saudi?
So I'm Saudi, actually, originally Palestinian. I am 5th generation Saudi, originally Palestinian. So born and raised in Saudi. My dad born and raised there. My grandfather was there. So it's home to us. And it's where my whole life is. I just chose to go to Lebanon to study there because when I was applying to universities, my parents were suggesting Canada, Boston, Paris and stuff. And I said, I cannot do that. I'm a very family-oriented person. I need to be close to you. I need to be close to home. And I love to be around Arabs. I said, I need to be around Arabs. This is my comfort zone. And my dad, he went to AUB for a couple of years. And then during the war, he moved. So he's a huge fan. He was so happy. He was all for it. So I did it. So I applied to AUB. I knew no one there. I didn't have any Lebanese friends. Nothing. I just chose it because I love Beirut as a city. I love the Lebanese as people. And I wanted to be around them during the next 4 years of my life.
After you launched the concept, I'm sure there was a high, so when the business was performing really well.
Honestly, alhamdulillah, it was a dream. We broke even in less than a year, which was insane. And I was only 22 back then. So for me, it was all like trial and error learning, and like I was doing the accounting, I was doing the buying, I was doing the visual merchandise, I was doing the events, I was doing the PR, I was doing the marketing. I was literally on the ground the whole time, and I didn't have a team. It was just me and the salespeople. And then also I had a full-time job at an investment bank on the side because I wanted to learn more about the corporate world and to get a feel of it. And I thought that was the best time to do it because I knew after that I'm not going to be able to commit. So we broke even in less than a year. It just boomed. People were so obsessed with the concept, just as I was with the one in Beirut. And they loved the idea, like I said, that there is now something in the market that is not very common and seen and not the greatest qualities, and then it's not so expensive. So they loved that it was mid-end and that it was different and that nobody knew what they were wearing, basically. So alhamdulillah, financially we did great. I think I had it for 6 years. I think all 6 years we did much better than we expected. I mean, we were seeing returns that were great, alhamdulillah. And I just had to end the chapter for my family because I was based in Dubai and the store is in Saudi, and I had my first son, and it was very hard to manage it remotely. I had to travel every 6 weeks pre my first born. And then when I had my son, I said, I can't travel every 6 weeks. I can't leave him. I can't put him on a plane every 6 weeks. So it was just a personal decision to take a step back, look at it as an amazing chapter in my life. We did so well, end it on a high, and just move on to the next.
Was it hard to close it down? Okay, when you had your son, okay, I'm done? Or did you feel like, okay, maybe this is not for me anymore way before that, but you didn't make the decision?
I think it happened 6 months after I had my son. It wasn't in the plans. I was still going for it, and I thought I can do it. And I thought I could hire people in Saudi that could make up for me not being there. But I'm a very hands-on, meticulous person, and I didn't find the right person that could kind of substitute me there. And I interviewed a lot of people, went through so many experiences and trials, and it just didn't work. I said either I'm there and I do it 100% and I'm on top of it, or I need to keep my name clean, end it on a high, and just focus on my family now.
We at Obai & Hill have over a decade's worth of experience working with some of the world's most successful brands across F&B, retail, culture, and hospitality. We are equally at home helping a brand define its point of view, positioning a new development, designing product, packaging, or creating content that speaks to an audience. Whatever the challenge, we deliver sharp, intelligent, content-driven work that helps brands amplify their message to customers around the world. Contact us on www.obaiandhill.com or DMing us on Instagram for your public relations, social media, and branding needs. What was the lowest point of Cream?
The hardest was when I had my son, because as I said, I thought I could do it. And then when I had my son, I was like, okay, no. And I took a step back without really having a support system in the store that could make up for my absence, So it was hard because I knew I should be doing more and I should be present more. And I had to invest more time in Cream back then, and I couldn't because for me, my son was a priority. So that was the most challenging time, I think.
Did you find it strange that you were running a boutique of your own, selling items that, like you said, they fit the mid-range, but then you were also, I don't want to say you were an ambassador, but you were, celebrated by a whole different niche of brands. Did you find it, odd or interesting, or did you find they complemented each other?
Yes, back then, events were very small, very limited, and I was very lucky to be invited to all of them at one point. Like you said, it hit Dubai, and I was just invited to many of them. And for me, actually, I didn't think of it as contradicting, if that's the question. I thought of it as complementing, because for me, for example, as a client, I would love to know that the owner behind the store is recognized by the big brands, and that they are a fan of her and her style, and that she is in the scene, and that she knows what's in and what's not, and she's very involved in the fashion world. So for me, it was a plus that I was there. It was not my main focus. It was not the reason I started all of this. And actually, I felt on the other side, I felt very comfortable going to this event, having a business backing me up. Like, I'm here because I have a successful business and because I started it from a very young age on my own, kind of self-made in Saudi in terms of growing the business. So for me, it actually made sense. It complemented it in both sides, for my clients and for the brands, you know. But I always made sure that when I was there, I was dressed in my clothes and things from my store. Even if the brand wanted to dress me in some shoots, I'd always mix and match because this is what I was representing back then, to mix and match and go for the different and the new, you know.
How hard is it to close a business? Can you tell us, for anybody right now, especially during COVID, who's had to make that decision or who has to make that decision, right? We're still seeing the effects on COVID, on the economy and on business. What's your advice for them on how to transition and close down their babies?
It was hard. It was a very hard decision to make. It was a very hard decision to execute. It was a very hard decision to recover from after. But I mean, for me, I was doing this for my son, which made things much easier, you know? Like, I was doing this to be there for him, to be more present, to be more focused on him. So for me, the reason I was doing it was very clear and make things easier. You know, I cannot imagine what other small businesses are going through to have to shut down because you don't want to, but you have to do it, and because your numbers are not great, and because of the whole situation. That must be really hard. And I actually think of these people all the time, because you put your heart and your soul into this, and then something comes up and then you have to just let go. And it's like it's a lot. Emotionally you're attached, physically you're there, financially some people are depending on it. So it's not an easy decision at all, and it was not a very smooth one for me. But like I said, I was doing it for my son, which kind of made it easier. I didn't have to do it because I had to do it, you know.
Did you feel like a failure?
Not at all. No, alhamdulillah. You know, my husband, I was talking to him, I was like, but we're doing so well, and haram, and we built this name, and I worked so hard for 6 years. He said, everything comes to an end, and you choose when to end things. I would rather, he said, that you end it on a high, because that's what you feel like doing, not because he was neutral, you know. He was saying whatever works for you, just go for it. But when I decided to close it and then I had second thoughts, he said it's better that you are ending it at a high when your name is still big and everyone still loves the story, rather than it just goes downhill and then you shut down. So alhamdulillah, no, it was smooth in that sense.
So since then and now, have you thought about starting a new business and fully investing in a new concept?
Yes, I did a lot, and I had a few opportunities here in Dubai and in Riyadh, and but it just never felt like it was the right time. Again, my kids are young; they need me. I am the type of person that cannot do multitask. Like, my mom was a working woman for 30 years, had 3 kids, run the house. She was everywhere. She was like doing her best at everything, and it was amazing to watch. But I realized with time, I'm not like that. I cannot multitask. I have to do one thing at a time, and I have to be perfect at it, and I give it 100%, and I cannot have any distractions. So when I realized that, I was like, okay, so fine. Now I did my job. I focused on my career the first 6 years, built the business, I was very satisfied with what I did. And then now it's my kids, my family, until they're a bit older and they need me less, then I can focus on something else. So the idea is there, the interest is there. I definitely want to get back into retail. I'm just waiting for my kids to grow up a little bit and need me less, and then I'll think about it.
Did your mom ever judge you? Like, I could have done this, I could have run the store?
At all. She is the most amazing human being. Like, she is my support system. I cannot do anything without her, literally. On the contrary, she was always so supportive with any decision I took. She just wants us to be comfortable and happy. And she's the one who brought it to my attention that people are different, that you don't have to be like me. Because I kept saying, what, Mom, you did it? She said, but you don't have to be like me. People are different. People have different ways of dealing with it. And she said, just accept it and do what works for you. Don't take on your plate just because I did it and then you want to do it.
So recently, or I mean not recently, you have started collaborating more with brands. And again, like, I don't like using the word influencer. And actually, we did an episode with Ala Belkhi and I asked her the same question. And she said, we're all influencers. Like, everyone is an influencer. We all influence our friends, our family. We all, she's like, I'm an early adopter. I love using social to spread my messages. So sure, you want to call me an influencer, but, it's not like, she's kind of taken ownership of it. I don't look at it as like a superficial, like, fashionista influencer, which I hate. I mean, I hate the word, but, it's more like, you can influence, like, we're all doing it anyways. Just some people have different degrees of like social circles. So can you tell me about how, you felt? So you used to be invited to these things, to these events, and you used to mix and match your clothes with the brands, or if they had to dress you as well. So you had, part of you and part of them, as you know what I mean? Like, you had and you were, I think, like, you had, like you said, the foundation that you are an entrepreneur. So you would attend knowing that, you had purpose, you know what I mean? Yeah. So when you remove that foundation and the fact that, you used to mix and match the brands that you bought and selected, was that hard for you, just becoming just Donna, or did you feel like you're being put into that box with other influencers, on that list with all the same influencers that were invited to all these events?
Honestly, I did go through a gray area after, because like you said, I was very, and I still am proud that I started off as an entrepreneur with a business, and when no one had done that back then. And then moving into just that, yes, I am still looking to always have a purpose. So for me, it switched. The purpose became kind of to like, for example, now these styling videos, how to style your clothes, how to mix and match, how to dress up, how to dress down, how to use the same dress or pants and wear it in three different ways. So for me, I wanted to still, because it all started in a style sense. When I had the store, it was all about my style and my buying and stuff. So I tried to continue with that, where I am here to help, not just to show. This is very important for me. Even when I did the house tour that you mentioned, it wasn't really a house tour. There's like so much from the house that I didn't show around. It was just, the main thing was to show how you can use your old pieces and your new pieces and to mix them together and to create a whole new look and feel by keeping your old stuff. So I always try to keep a purpose, and it's very important for me to keep a purpose, because yes, without that, I feel a bit far from my goal, And with all these brands, I always make sure that to stay real, to stay connected, to stay genuine, to not over intimidate. And I always remind myself that I am here to do this, I am here to do that. I don't want to be here just to show.
This podcast is brought to you by O'Brien Hill. O'Brien Hill is a leading communications agency focusing on public relations, event management, and marketing. It's made up of a fantastic group of creatives in the design and PR fields. The agency first came to life in 2010 as my brainchild. Our creative consulting services were in demand in the UK after our online publication Sketchbook became an overnight success. Much like a proud mama, our agency's namesake is attributed to the place of its inception, Notting Hill. It's now 10 years later and we're one of the leading communication agencies in town, and we as a team are incredibly proud to be working on this very podcast behind the scenes. Check us out on www.obayandhill.com. Tell us more about how these brand partnerships happen. So I think this is something most people are very curious about. If you're in the business, you understand how it works. But for somebody who's like, how do you get these opportunities? When do you start charging? And do you do things yourself? Like, do you negotiate or do you have an agent?
No, I do everything myself. I I am not for the idea of having an agent at this point because I like to keep my relationship with the brands that I've worked with for the past 8 years. I like to keep it genuine and friendly, and I like to be the face in this relationship and in control. And also, another thing is, honestly, I never seek for these projects. Like, if it comes to me, then I will consider it and look at if it works or not. I never go after projects. I never throw myself out there or ask for collaborations and these things. I am myself doing my thing, and if brands think I'm a good fit, they approach me, and then I decide if it works or not, if it adds to my credibility or not, because you don't want to just take on anything. So in terms of managing myself, yes, I do it myself to keep this relationship with the brands. In terms of getting out there and getting projects, I don't do it. Maybe it's not something wrong, but I like to, like I said, I like to stay grounded and connected. And for me, it's not the main purpose in my life. It's a step until my next project or business. So when they approach me, then I evaluate and I see if it works, and if it comes out as genuine, and if it's something I really use, if it's something I really believe in, I'll go for it. If it contradicts so many of my, beliefs or anything, I just say no. I say no actually more than yes sometimes, because I really want to keep this an extension of me, And in terms of negotiations, I set my price and what I think is a good number for the number of hours I'll be spending away from my kids, from my family, how much effort it's going to take. For me, it's like a job, when you leave your kids and go to the office, you're getting paid for it. Same with me. When I leave my kids and go on a 2-day, 3-day shoot, or I have to go host an event all day, for me, I am leaving my kids. It has to be worth it. Before having kids, actually, I never used to charge for anything. Nothing. It was all just brands and collaborations and photo shoots, and it was just me supporting them and them recognizing me. That was it. But after I had my kids, I said, if I'm going to leave them and if it's going to take time from their time, then it has to be worth it.
What are projects you've said no to, without naming any names, but like the type of brands you were like, okay, this is not suitable to me, and why?
A lot of products that I don't use. Some products and some brands that I don't use had approached me to collaborate, and I said, I've never tried the product, I don't plan to, it's not me, and I just would rather not represent something I don't really see myself using. That's one. Also, a lot of baby and children's brands, which are amazing, and some of them I genuinely love, but the requirements would be to expose my kids and show them and include them in the shoot, and I don't. I'd rather keep things private and keep the kids off social media.
When you say no, like this brand doesn't represent me, did any of the brands get upset or angry or take it personally, or has everybody been understanding?
I might have not been very blunt about it. Like, I would find a nice way to say it. No, I never spoke about it like it's not me, no, I won't do it, I'm better than that. No, never. It was just either I would be very honest and say it won't come out as natural as it should, and I don't want to lose my credibility because I don't really use this, or I tried my best to say it in a nice way. It was never in an offensive way.
There are so many women I've interviewed personally who are trying to transition from being entrepreneurs, whether their businesses didn't work out or they want to move on, into influencers. Do you feel that the market is saturated now?
Yeah, I feel like there are a lot out there, but I feel like there's always room for someone who is coming with something new, something different, a purpose, like I mentioned. So if you have an idea, if you have something to represent, on the contrary, go for it. It's a great place for everyone. There's so much place for anyone, to join. It's an easy way to start your business. I'm all for it, actually, if they have something different to bring to the table.
Do you foresee yourself doing this for a long period of time?
Honestly, the best part about this is, first of all, you are in direct contact with the people who are following you. So it's a very nice relationship to have with I'm just going to call them the friends who are following me on Instagram. So it's really nice to have this dark relationship, to have this voice, I'm very grateful for that, and I would like to keep that going, because some people have been following me for the past 8 years, and I get a lot of appreciation messages, like what I've done gave them an idea or an inspiration, or has helped in a way, whatever, as silly as it can be, like an outfit or a house, restyling or any of that. So I'm happy to be here because they are happy to have me around, and I feel like I'm like when the corona happened and the lockdown happened, I was posting a lot of kids activities and people loved it and found it so helpful and useful. So I'm very happy to be here because I feel like they appreciate it. And as long as I have something useful to share, or something that will just add fun to them, to their day, if they see it, it's fun, it's happy, it's not intimidating, it's not negative, then I will continue doing it. But like I said, it is not the main purpose. Inshallah, this is a step into my next project, which I don't know when it will be or where, but definitely I want to get back into retail when the right time comes. And meanwhile, I'm doing this, which I love also because it's very flexible. So I choose my projects, I choose my timings. It's a perfect job for someone who wants to stay focused on their family and wants to have this flexibility.
Tell us about the dark side of social media. What do we not see behind the scenes?
Alhamdulillah, like I said, I'm so grateful for everyone who follows me. They are always so kind, so supportive. I don't really get any mean messages, like maybe one comment every 6 months. Fine, it's okay. I mean, my life is out there for people to watch, so they have the right to say what they want, but it's never anything harsh or personal. It's always their opinion of doing things differently, which I accept. But the majority of people are so loving, so encouraging, and I'm so grateful, because so many people have asked me this question before: do you get a lot of hate messages? I really genuinely don't, and I'm very grateful for that.
What is your relationship like with money? And I tend to ask this in every episode. And do you enjoy making your own money? Like, it seems to me like you have really strong work ethic anyways. If you worked in investments, you had your store as a student. How important is it for you to make your own salary every month?
It's an amazing feeling, honestly, to make your own money, to have the freedom of managing it the way you want and stuff. But my relationship with my husband is that we share everything. So I never really feel that this is mine, this is his, This is how it started, and this is how it still is so far. So for me, yes, it's just a nice feeling to contribute sometimes, or to help other people when you want to with your own money. It's nice when you want to help or give to charity, or to send to someone, to know that this is yours and this is your own input in their lives. So for me, in terms of spending, this is what I enjoy most about making my money, that when I give to help or when I send to someone, I know it's from me and this is my work, effort gone into it.
Let's go back to perfectionism. You said earlier on that you're a perfectionist, and I want you to tell me what is the positive side of being a perfectionist and the negative side.
So exhausting, honestly, and it's not something I'm proud of. I always try to move away from it and to calm down and chill, and it's okay if things are not perfect, but I don't seem like I can. It's in me and it's tiring. It's very, very tiring. But at the end of the day, when it's all done, you look back and you're happy with what you've done and you're proud of it and you feel like you've given it your all. For me, this is what's important. My dad growing up would always ask us, when the grades would come back, for example, I was perfectionist. So if I got a 96 out of 100, for me, those 4 points, where did they go? And my dad would be just did you do your best? Was this the best that you could do? And I would either say yes or no. And for him, that's what's important. So I try to remind myself that for me, the most important thing is to give it your all, try your best, and then whatever happens. But another side of me is very controlling, and no, it has to happen, and it has to be perfect, and it has to be 100%. So it is a struggle, inner struggle, and it's tiring, and but I am not proud of it. I want to change, but I just can't.
Where did it come from, this perfectionism? Like, how did you become this way?
I think it's in my blood, honestly, and now it's in my son's blood. And like, I talk to his teacher all the time, like, please work on it. And I don't want him to be a perfectionist like me. And please, let's easy thing, like change things up for him. But it's also in him. And to make things even worse, my husband is also. So it's a family of OCD humans in one house, and everyone's a perfectionist. Everyone wants things 100%, which is tiring, honestly. It's not right.
Who do you look up to, both as someone of influence online, but also in general, like in life, like someone that you're like, wow, I'd love to be like her, or this person inspires me?
My mom, she is a superwoman. She's my best friend. She is the most giving, the most selfless. She's just an amazing human being, and everyone who meets her says that. It's not just me. Even people who just meet her for a short time, or my friends, really, she's an amazing human being in every sense. And I hope I am what she is one day, and I'm so far from it so far, and I have a lot to work on, but she is definitely my idol in everything.
On that note, Donna, thank you so much. This was lovely. It got really interesting at the end. I enjoyed the vulnerability that you've given me with the perfectionism, because I feel like I want people to just feel like they can relate and they can connect and they can learn as well.
100%. I mean, for people who like it, they would enjoy what I post and what I share because they know how much time it takes. But for people who are not into it, they shouldn't feel like they need to be doing this, or that this is what they're doing is wrong, because on the contrary, it's just a different way of doing things. Some people are more relaxed, some people are more stressed, some people I find joy in organizing and having things in order and cleaning up and all of that. I find joy in that. For people, it's just a task they have to do. So I think everyone should just do what's comfortable for them.
Are you into those like Netflix shows like Home Edit and Marie Kondo?
No, because this will just make my life and my obsession and my perfectionism worse. I swear, my sister called me and she's like, you have to watch the Home Edit. I said, Hania, I am trying to move away from being a perfectionist. I cannot come and watch a show that will make me worse. So I am purposely and I'm putting really a lot of effort to stay away from watching it, because I know if I do, I'm just gonna go back to what I've been working on.
Anyways, this was great. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. You are as lovely in person as you are as on social. And you there's a lot of positivity and radiance. Like, I think you have the ability to take every situation and make it positive and look at focus on the things you're grateful for. So you haven't once said, this was a mistake, or this was an error, or this was a failure. You said, no, this enhanced my career. No, this was an introduction. You've positioned everything so positively, which I think, there's a lot of power in that as well, because I think that's manifestation and that's good juju and good vibes.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
That's it for this week. Thank you for listening to an episode of the Woman Power Podcast. And thank you for downloading and streaming our podcast every week. If you love what you've heard, tag us on Instagram and follow the Woman Power Podcast and Woman Power Summit account for more information on our next episode. Please leave a rating review wherever you get your podcast. It really helps other women discover the show. That's it from me. See you next week.